Process for portfolio management, yes or no? Okay. So process or steps of portfolio management. So we have to follow these 5 steps whenever we are going to design our portfolio. That is putting various investment instruments into a particular basket. We need to follow these 5 steps. We must go for security analysis at the beginning. Then we will go for portfolio analysis. Next step is to selection of the portfolio on the basis of portfolio analysis, and at regular interval we must also revise the portfolio by considering 2 components, that is risk and return. And finally we have to evaluate the portfolio. So whenever we are evaluating the portfolio, simply we are evaluating what is the expected rate of return as well as what is the degree of risk involved in the portfolio. Okay, so here under fundamentals of investment as well as fundamentals of security analysis and portfolio, we are talking about risk and return, because these 2 components are always correlated to each other. So let us understand first what is risk. Okay, so first we'll discuss about risk, then we'll discuss about return, then we'll proceed to next. Okay, so just tell me, what do you mean by risk? Any idea? In our day-to-day life, we are using these 2 buzzwords actually. One is risk, another one is uncertainty. Yes or no? Is there any difference between risk and uncertainty? What is risk? What do you mean by risk? Any idea? Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So just answer. What do you mean by risk? You just tell me from layman point of view. What is risk? Any idea? No? Okay. So let us proceed with our discussion. So we are going to discuss about risk. Whenever we are talking about risk, please remember, risk means what? The probability of the expected return from the security will not materialize. In case of investment, whenever we are talking about risk, risk means what? Simply we can say something. We are expecting something which may not be materialized. Let's say whenever we are making investment, we are expecting that we are going to get 20% of return. But in practical sense, at the end of the period, we are not getting 20% of return. Why? There is variability of return. The reason is very simple. Due to a certain amount of risk, there is variability of return. So that's why we are getting less than that, what we have already expected. Okay. So please try to understand, risk means what? The probability that the expected return from the security will not materialize. What we are expecting, that means our expected outcomes may not be fulfilled. Expected outcomes may not be fulfilled. The possibility that the expected outcomes may vary from the original decision or original expectation. We are expecting something, but we are getting something. Then we can say there is a risk. We are expecting 20%, or if we are getting less than 20%, then we can say there is the variability of return because of risk. Because of risk. Okay. So expected outcome is less or more what we have expected. What we have expected, the expected outcome may be less or more. Now, if you look at the meaning of uncertainty, uncertainty means what? Here, unexpected outcome. Whenever we are talking about risk, there is variability of your expected outcome, but uncertainty is unexpected outcome due to random variation of result. That means it is beyond our imagination or beyond our expectation. Let's say we are expecting 20% of return, but if you are getting negative 30% of return, so here this simply this we can say this is the unexpected outcome. So this unexpected outcome happened due to random variation of result, that is uncertainty. So it is due to external factors like your economic factor, political factor, or industry factors. Let's say economic crisis is there, so automatically it will affect the business, it will affect the industry. Political instability situation is there, so definitely it will affect the industry, the business as a whole. Why? When the political instability will be there, the government will be changed. When the government will be changed, then the policy about the business will be also changed. Okay, so that's why unexpected outcome or results we are getting because of all those external factors. Please remember. And another most important thing is that we can able to measure the degree of risk, but we cannot measure the degree of uncertainty. Okay, so risk can be measured, but uncertainty cannot be measured. It is purely driven by the external factors. So we are focusing on risk. So risk could be the general risk as well as specific risk. Whenever we are talking about total risk could be the general risk as well as specific risk, or we can say total risk is the market risk plus issuer risk, or total risk can be also systematic risk as well as unsystematic risk. So here we can say whenever we are going to compute this total risk involved, so we have to consider two types of risk. Okay, either general, specific, market, issuer, or systematic, unsystematic. So all the risk, all these two types of risk, that means general, specific, market, issuer, systematic, unsystematic, they are similar to each other. Okay, so let us talk about general risk. General risk means what? It is the risk that is available for everybody. Okay, you are an investor, I am an investor, or you are doing the business, I am also doing business. What are the risks available to you? And the same amount of risk available to me. So why I am saying so? General risk, because this risk is not controlled by us. We cannot able to control. It is purely driven by the market forces, or it is purely driven by the external factors. General risk, that will remain constant. You cannot control it, you cannot change it, you cannot minimize it, but to some extent, specific risk can be minimized. Specific risk means there are certain risks which are specific to the business, specific to the industry, specific to a particular system. So total risk could be the general risk as well as specific risk, or we can say it could be the market risk as well as issuer risk. Again, market risk, we cannot control the market risk. It is driven by the market forces. Again, issuer risk. Issuer risk means the entity or the business or the individual who is issuing investment instruments. Let's say X Limited is one company. It is issuing equity share. So when it is issuing equity share, as an investor, we have to assess what is the risk associated with X Limited. That is the issuer risk, because here X Limited is the issuer. It is issuing the security. It is issuing the investment instruments. So total risk could be the market risk as well as issuer risk. Again, total risk could be the systematic risk and unsystematic risk. Please remember, systematic risk arises because of systemic crisis. Let's say the economic system of a nation or a country fell. So definitely economic crisis will be there. Let's say war-like situation like your Russia-Ukraine war is going on. War-like situation will be there. So automatically the system will be failed. Because of system failure, systemic crisis, there could be certain amount of risk to the industry, to the business. or to a particular sector. So that is known as systematic risk. So please remember, systematic risk arises and driven by the macro factors. It is driven by the macro factors, and it cannot be controlled by the organization. This is macro in nature. We cannot control it. War, can you control? Let's say you are doing the business, you are owner of X Limited. Can you control the war between Russia and Ukraine? Can you control the systemic crisis of a nation? Can you control the economic crisis of a nation? This is not in our hand. So this is purely driven by the macro factors, and it is uncontrollable by the organization. The organization or the business entity cannot control itself. That is systematic risk. Again, unsystematic risk to some extent can be controlled by taking some precautionary as well as preventive measures. So unsystematic risks are micro in nature. Micro in nature. So very good example, whenever we are talking about systematic risk, let's say we are saying that economic crisis, political instability. So because of that, systematic risk may be there. But wherever we are talking about unsystematic risk, let's say unavailability of raw material, unavailability of labor forces, so that can be controlled. To some extent, it can be controlled. Let's say raw material is not available for us in the nearby market. So we can search immediately what are the alternative markets available. So immediately we can go there and we can hire the human resources, or we can purchase the raw material. To some extent, we can control that risk. That is unsystematic risk. So unsystematic risk is micro in nature, and it is controlled by the business organizer. So one way or other, whenever we are talking about total risk, it is the summation of systematic risk and unsystematic. Here you can say systematic risk. Systematic risk is purely driven by the macro factors. Again, whenever we are talking about general risk, it happened to everybody. It happens to everybody. So we can say it is also driven by the macro factors. Again, in the second point, whenever we are talking about market risk, it is also driven by the macro factors. Why there is the risk in the market? Due to political instability, due to economic system failure, due to war-like situation, due to natural calamities. So these all are not in our hand. So these are macro driven. So in a nutshell, I can say total risk is the summation of systematic as well as unsystematic risk. Is it fine? Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
That's total
Yes,
risk.
sir. Yes, sir.
Very good. So total risk is the, we can say total risk is the summation of systematic as well as unsystematic risk. So systematic risk cannot be controlled. It is driven by the macro factors, but unsystematic can be controlled to some extent, and it is micro in nature. I have already cited the example. So let us proceed to the next. So we are going to discuss about these two types of risk, because total risk is the summation of systematic as well as unsystematic risk. So other risks are also coming under these two. Okay. So let us start with this systematic risk. So whenever we are talking about systematic risk, as I have already mentioned you, is that it is uncontrollable by the organization, that means business entity. It is macro in nature. It is driven by the market forces. So systematic risk again may be the following risk. These are various risks which are coming under systematic risk. Okay. So let us discuss one by one. So what are the various types of risk which are coming under systematic risk? Like your market risk, purchase risk, regulation risk. So these all are coming under systematic risk. So what is the market risk? Please remember, market risk is associated with the consistent fluctuations in the trading process of a particular security or particular share. Whenever we are talking about market, let's say we can take the example of the capital market, where securities are traded, shares are bought and sold. Yes or no? Sometimes the share price may be high and sometimes the share price may be low. Why there is fluctuation in the price of this share or securities in the market? Because of the market risk. Please remember, because of the market risk. So it arises due to the rise or fall in the trading prices of listed shares and securities in the market. Okay. So market risk is there whenever we are buying some investment instruments, definitely we are buying to sell. When buying is there, selling is also there. As a result, we can say that this particular investment instrument is having some sort of liquidity. So during the process of buying and selling, which is popularly known as trading, definitely market risk is there. Okay, so market risk cannot be controlled by any individual organization. Please remember, let's say you are doing the business, your business entity cannot control the entire capital market. So this is macro in nature. Please remember. Again, interest rate risk. So what is interest rate risk? Let us understand. Interest rate risk arises due to variability in the interest rates from time to time. I hope some of you, some of you are maybe the banker. I hope some of you are also serving in any banking organization. So during this last 6 months to 1 year, if you look at the home loan, or you can say popularly home loan interest rate, so it has been revised many times. Yes or no? It has been revised many times. Before 1 year, six months to 1 year, I hope it was 6.7%. Before 1 year, I thought. So it may be before 1 year. Okay, so you may rectify me. So it was 6.7% or 6.5%, but now, right now, it is about 8.5 to 9%, isn't it? Why does this happen? This happened due to the fluctuation of interest rate. Due to the variation of interest rate. You can say, sir, our banking institutions are controlled by the RBI. Yes, RBI is formulating its monetary policy. It is raising its various basis points on the repo and repo rate. So that's why interest rates are fluctuating. That's true. But is it controlled by you? This is purely driven by the monetary policy formulated by the RBI. So can you control the monetary policy of the RBI? So what are there in the policy? So we have to follow it. So whenever we are talking about interest rate risk, please remember interest rate risk arises due to variability in the interest rate from time to time. So where interest rate will fluctuate, what will happen? It affects the debt securities. Debt security, that means debenture or bonds, a loan type of instruments, as they carry the fixed rate of interest. As they carry fixed rate of interest. Let's say I am a particular organization, I am issuing debenture. When the interest rate will be high, the rate of debenture will be also high. I need, let's say, 1 crore. Right now, the interest rate is 6%. So I can raise the money from the market at 6%. So 6% is my fixed cost. If the interest rate will rise or from 6% to, let's say, 10%, that means now my fixed cost increased from 6% to 10%. Is it favorable for the organization? Is it favorable for the business? The answer is no. Are you getting my point? So interest rate risk is also coming under systematic risk. It is driven by the macro factors. Again, purchasing power risk. So purchasing power risk is associated with the inflation or rising of prices in the market. When let's say you are the individual investor As I have already cited the same example in our previous class. So you are the individual investor. Let's say you are a salaried person, your monthly income is 50,000 and your monthly expenditure is 30,000. So what is your surplus? Your surplus is 20,000. So out of your surplus, you can save something, you can invest something. Yes or no? Now, let's say the inflation rate hike in the market. That means there will be rising in the prices of the commodity, that means goods and services. So automatically what will happen? By fixing your salary, that means your salary is constant. Now your expenditure will rise from 30,000 to let's say 40,000. So what will be your monthly saving or surplus? 10,000. Earlier it was 20,000. Now it is 10,000. So when 20,000 was there, you can invest more and you can also expect more amount of return. So when inflation rate will be high in the market, because of that, the prices of the commodity will rise. So automatically your saving will fall down. Your surplus will fall down. So because of that, some risk will be associated with your investment instruments. As a result, you may not able to get the desired amount of return. So purchasing power risk is associated with the fluctuation of inflation rates. Okay. So inflation rates also affects your return. Please remember. So we cannot control the inflation. It is again driven by the economic system of the country. So it is coming under systematic risk. It is macro in nature. Please remember. And next one is your regulation risk. So what is regulation risk? Regulation risk arises due to changing of the regulation from time to time. Changing of the regulation from time to time. So who is formulating the regulation? Definitely the government in a country. Yes or no? Or the statutory body of a nation, they are formulating the regulation. So because of changing of their regulation, definitely risk will be there. Definitely more amount of risk will be there, and it will also affect the return of the investor, expected return of the investor. Again, let us take one example about the regulation risk. So let us take one example. You know GST, goods and service tax. You know GST. Are you there? Can you hear me? Just confirm. Otherwise, mu news anchor bele apun mane khali shunuthibe. So try to be participating. Okay, jodi buझी पारुनांती, you can ask me. ଆଉ ଯଦି କିଛି ଅଧିକା ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି, you can share with us. So we are talking about regulation risk. So you know GST, goods and service tax.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there are various rates like 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So whenever that means these rates are fixed by the GST Council or Government of India. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So let's say right now you are buying certain amount of raw material where your GST rates are 5%. Now what happened? The government has already changed the GST rate from 5% to 10%. What will happen? The cost of raw material will increase or decrease? The cost of raw material will increase or decrease?
Increase, sir.
Definitely it will increase. So when the raw material will increase, as a result, your investment on raw material will also fall down, decrease. When your investment will decrease, automatically your production will be also less. That means you will get less amount of return in comparison to the previous one. So there are so many statutes and so many acts, so many rules and regulations that are applicable for the business. And these rules, regulations, act and statute are formulated by either the central government or the state government or by the both. So that's why they have set up the statutory bodies. Statutory bodies like your SEBI is there, RBI is there, IRDA is there, and other statutory bodies are there. So when they will change their regulation, because of their regulation, the business may suffer a lot. There will be variability in the return of the business. The fluctuation of return due to changing of the regulations by various statutory bodies or by changing the various act and statute is coming under regulation risk. So regulation risk also affects the business, that is coming under systematic risk. Again, the international risk is there. So why international risk is there? Actually, whenever we are dealing with international business, that means you can say export, import, or you may go for your business in various countries. So definitely there will be some sort of risk due to what you can say international transactions, or due to some international system. Okay, so this is also coming under systematic risk. So market risk, interest rate risk, purchasing power risk, regulation risk, international risk, all are coming under systematic risk. Please remember. Okay, and coming to the next one, did you understand or any doubt under any point?
No doubt, sir.
No doubt. Very good. Thank you. Let us proceed to the next, that is unsystematic risk, which is purely controlled and to some extent it can be managed by the business organization itself. This is all about your operational risk, liquidity risk, financial risk, business risk, and default risk. Okay. So operational risk, due to your business operations, if you are not capable enough to operate your business, so definitely risk will be there. Let's say there are some persons or some managers, those who are sitting in your board of directors or at the top level management. If they are not in a position or if they are incapable of taking good decision for the business, so definitely the business will suffer the loss. The business may not able to achieve its return. So that is coming under operational risk. Due to what you can say operational failure of the business, the risk or the return may vary. Again, liquidity risk. Liquidity risk refers to when we are holding some sort of investment instruments, but as and when we need, if we could not able to materialize it, then definitely there is some liquidity risk. Let's say we are holding some investment instruments. Immediately we need money or immediately we need liquid amount of fund. If we are unable to convert it into cash or cash equivalents, then we can say there is a risk. Liquidity risk. That means here simply you can say whenever you are holding investment instruments, you are choosing wrong one. If you will choose the correct investment instruments, then you could able to convert it into money or cash at any point of time as and when you need. So that is liquidity risk. Again, financial risk is there. So financial risk arises due to some sort of financial transactions actually. So there may be variability of your return due to some sort of financial activities. Financial activities. Okay. So whenever you are issuing shares or whenever you are issuing debentures, let's say you are unable to pay the interest rates or dividends to your investors. Why? Because of the risk. You are incapable to take the financial decision of the firm. So that may be there. Again, business risk is also there. Business risk means what? There are some risks which are associated with the business. Because of that risk, there may be variability of return. Again, default risk is there. Whenever you are lending loan from the market, you have committed to repay after a specified period of time. But after a specified period of time, if you are unable to pay, so definitely you will be treated as the defaulter. Why you are known as the defaulter? because of some sort of default risk. So these risks can be controlled and can be managed by the business organization if a proper preventional as well as precautionary measures can be taken. Okay, so there are two types of risk. Please remember, one is systematic risk, second one is unsystematic risk. So these are the types of risk which are there in the investment portfolio. Whenever we are going for portfolio management, these are some sort of risk which are associated. First one is credit risk. So what is credit risk? The potential variability in returns resulting in debt issued not making promised principal and interest payments. You have issued already debentures or debt instruments, and you have promised that you will refund the principal as well as interest after a certain period of time, but you are unable to pay. So there will be variability in return. That is the credit risk. Again, purchasing power risk, as I have already discussed, the potential variability in return caused by the unanticipated changes in the inflation. That means caused by the changes in inflation rates. So this is purchasing power risk. We have already discussed. Interest rate risk also discussed. The potential variability in returns caused by changes in the level of interest rates. When there will be fluctuation of interest rates, automatically there will be variability in the return. So return fluctuates because of the changes of interest rates. That is coming under interest rate risk. Liquidity and marketability risk. The risk of potential variability in returns caused by the lack of marketability represents the component of liquidity. Marketability means buying and selling. Okay, that means you are holding some sort of investment instruments, but you are unable to sell it in the market. That means you are choosing the wrong investment instruments. So because of that, there may be liquidity as well as marketability risk. Okay, so these are the various types of risk which are associated in the portfolio management. Please remember, whether it may be credit risk, purchasing power risk, interest rate risk, liquidity and marketability risk, all are coming under systematic as well as unsystematic risk. Yes or no? Just tell me yes or no. This interest rate risk, liquidity and marketability risk, credit risk, and purchasing power risk. All these risks are coming under systematic as well as unsystematic risk. On or nine? Yes or no? We have already discussed various types of systematic as well as unsystematic risk. Okay, so all these risks are coming under the systematic as well as unsystematic risk. Did you understand? Are you there? Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So did you understand? What are the types of risk involved in the portfolio investment?
Yes, sir.
So let us discuss about this degree of risk as well as risk-free rate of return. So in order to discuss this degree of risk and risk-free rate of return, so we need to consider a few points. What we need. So this particular model is otherwise known as SAPM. Please remember, capital asset pricing model. So we will discuss in detail in later. So ER stands for, please remember, expected rate of return is equal to RA plus beta into RM minus RF. So ER stands for expected rate of return. RF stands for risk-free rate of return. RF stands for risk-free rate of return. Please remember. And this is RM. Okay. And RM stands for market rate of return. This is RM. And this is the beta already written. And premium means it is the difference between market rate of return and risk-free rate of return. Please remember. So what is risk-free rate of return? Without taking any kind of risk, what is the return expected by the investor is known as risk-free rate of return. Very good example is the interest rate of FD. So fixed deposit interest rate, let's say, that is offered by the, just a minute. Fixed deposit interest rate that is offered by the most of the banks are around, let's say this is around 7%. Suppose this is around 7%. Okay. So here we can say 7% is the risk-free rate of return. Post office deposits or post office savings. Here, let's say there's offering 6 to 7 rates. So we can take that 6 to 7 rates is the risk-free return. So without taking any risk, we can able to get this 6 to 7% of return. Generally, we can say these are the risk-free rate of return. So we cannot say that there will not be any risk. There may be, but very nominal amount of risk is there. Generally, we can able to materialize our rate of return at the end of the period. If we are investing, putting some amount today in the commercial bank, any commercial bank, as a fixed deposit, so definitely at the end of the period, we will get 7% or 6%. Okay, so 6 to 7% we can say risk-free rate of return. A risk-free rate of return. That means without taking any risk, we can able to get this much of return if you are investing. Second one coming here is the market rate of return. Market rate of return means this is the rate of return which prevails in the market on various investment instruments or various securities. Okay, so here I am saying that fixed deposit rate of return is 7%. It is 7%. Okay, and equity share of a particular company, let's say one blue chip company equity share is giving the return of 20%. Are you getting my point? So here I can say this is the market rate of return. That means I am expecting from the market, this is the highest rate of return offered by the equity shares or securities, equity shares. And this is the minimum rate of return without taking any risk offered by the fixed deposit by any commercial bank. So here, without taking any risk as an investor, let's say I'm getting 7%. If I will take risk, then I have to invest my money in equity share instead of fixed deposit. Because I am a risk taker, I'm going to take the risk. Since I am taking more risk, so I must anticipate more amount of return. Okay. So here risk-free rate of return is 7% and market rate of return is 20%. Okay. So here that means if I am investing in equity share, I am getting 20%. If I am investing in FD without taking any risk, I am getting 7%. So whenever I am investing in equity shares, what is extra I am getting? What is the extra amount of return I am getting? What is the extra amount of return I am getting? Okay. Rosalind madam is saying 13%. Excellent. So 7% is risk-free rate of return, market rate of return is 20%. So 20% minus 7%, that is your 13%. The difference is 7 minus 20. 20 minus 7, that is 13%. So why this differential return I am charging? Because I am undertaking the risk. Since I am taking the risk, so I must charge the premium. Yes or no? So this is known as premium. अगर मुझे premium नहीं मिलेगा, तो मुझे ज़्यादा risk लेना क्या जरूरत? So since I am taking more amount of risk and I am investing my money in equity share in order to get 20% rate of return, so I must charge premium. That premium is 13%. Okay, how? This is the market rate of return 20% and fixed deposit rate is 7%. We are considering it as the risk-free rate of return. So 20% minus 7% is the 13%. So 13% is known as premium. So here premium is the difference between market rate of return and risk-free rate of return. Then what is beta? Please remember, beta is the index of individual security. Risk index. Beta is the risk index. Okay. Risk index of individual security, not market as a whole. Please remember. If I am talking about equity share, let's say this is the equity share of X Limited. So X Limited equity share is individual security. So individual security risk index, let's say it is 1.5%. 1.5. Individual security index is 1.5. So right now I can able to compute the expected return, expected rate of return on this particular security. So here risk-free rate of return is 7%, that is 0.07. Yes or no? That is 0.07 plus beta already given 1.5. This is the risk index of individual security, a coefficient of risk an individual security. RM minus RF. RM is 20%, so it is 0.2 minus what is risk-free rate of return? 0.07. Yes or no? If we'll solve this, the result you are getting is known as expected rate of return. So you just solve and tell me what is your expected rate of return. You solve and tell me what is your expected rate of return. Be quick. 0.07 plus 1.5 into 0.2 minus 0.07. So 1.5 into 0.13. 1.5 into 0.13 plus 0.07. How much you are getting? Tell me the answer. How much you are getting? How much you are getting? Tell me the answer. 0.265. Is it so?
Yes, sir.
So if it is if it is 0.265, so simply we can write it as 0.265. That means 26.5% is our expected return as per SAPM, Capital Asset Pricing Model. Okay, is it clear? Did you understand? हाँ या नहीं बोलो. Yes, sir. So what happened? Everyone is silent, not interacting. Where is the problem? Is there any difficulty for understanding? Is there any difficulty for your understanding? Okay. So aji samaste monobrata rakhichanti, ठीक अछि.
Sir, off रे टिके कहि दियंतु सर.
जते बेले हमें सीएपीएम मॉडल कोन कहूची ना, सीएपीएम मॉडल रे हमें कोन करि परिबा, we can compute the expected return, the expected rate of return on an individual security. Okay, मने करंतु मो गोटे इंडिविजुअल सिक्यूरिटी बा इंडिविजुअल इंस्ट्रूमेंट मते करे किनिबार अछि, सेही पर्टिकुलर इंस्ट्रूमेंट रे केते एक्सपेक्टेड रेट ऑफ रिटर्न हेई पारिबो. व्हाट कैन बी द एक्सपेक्टेड रेट ऑफ रिटर्न? मु जदी आजी मो सेतरे इन्वेस्ट करूची, मोर एक्सपेक्टेड रेट ऑफ रिटर्न केते आसी पारिबो. So in order to compute the expected rate of return, we must consider SAPM model, which is expandedly known as capital asset pricing model. Please remember. So capital asset pricing model consider the degree of risk as well as risk-free rate of return. So what is risk-free rate of return? देखो risk-free rate of return माने मु बिल्कुल रिस्क नेबी नहीं केते रिटर्न एक्सपेक्ट करिबी. आपण को पाखरे 1000 टका अछि, मो पाखरे 1000 टका अछि. आपण कहउछन्ती मु रिस्क बिल्कुल नेबी नहीं बिकॉज़ यू आर पेसिमिस्टिक. जहां भी रिटर्न मिलिया कथा बिळु किए ते रिस्क नउची, टेंशन रे किए रहउची, एई बळे आपणकर चिंताधारा. सो आपण कोन करछन्ती, आपण रिस्क बिल्कुल नउ नाहंती. बुझी परछन्ती? तो आप जब रिस्क न ने कौन करेंगे 1000 टका अच्छी 1000 टका गले जेकोसी बैंक रे फिक्स डिपॉजिट रे पके दे, कारण फिक्स डिपॉजिट रे टिके रिटर्न अधिका हां ना नहीं.
Yes sir.
तो आप फिक्स डिपॉजिट रे पके देले, जदले फिक्स डिपॉजिट पके देले बैंकर सिटी कहउछन्ती जे बैंक रो अछन्ती ऑफिसर वा बैंक मैनेजर से कहउछन्ती मैडम आपन को 7% रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट मिलिबो काहे कि ना हमर बर्तन 7% अछि. जदि आपन 1000 टका रखुछन्ती केते पाइबे आपन 7% is your rate of return at the end of the period. हाँ ना नहीं?
Yes sir.
Very good. मो पाखरे 1000 टका अछि, but I am not the pessimistic like you. आपण कोन रिस्क न पई चाहू ना, टेंशन न पई चाहू ना, but I am the risk taker. Okay. So in order to take the risk, what I'll do? I must invest my money in some security where the rate of return will be maximum. मुझे रिस्क अधिका ने भी आपण रिस्क न नै कि 7%, मुझे रिस्क मैक्सिमम रिस्क ने भी मते मैक्सिमम रिटर्न दरकार ना नहीं.
Yes sir.
तेडु करी
Yes, sir.
एक्स लिमिटेड रो गोटे इक्विटी शेयर अछि, से इशू करूची, सेतरे जदी मु इन्वेस्ट करिवि 20% रिटर्न पाइबि. बुझि पाले? That is the market rate of return that is available in the market on the riskier security. 20%. What is beta? Beta is the risk index or coefficient of risk associated with the individual security. It individual security किए? Equity share of X limited. A individual security रा से कोची beta coefficient केते देछि 1.5. Premium केमते में कैलकुलेट करिबा? आपण बिना रिस्क नै कि 7% पाउछंती, मो रिस्क नै कि 20% पाउची. तबे एक्स्ट्रा केते मो चार्ज करूची 13%. काहे कि मो चार्ज करूची? Because I am taking the risk. That 13% is known as the premium. How it came? 20% minus 7%. 20% is the RM, market rate of return, and 7% is the risk-free rate of return. So 20% minus 7%, that is premium 13%. So it is expected return जदि मु कैलकुलेट करबी कोन करबी, RF होची 7%, 7% को 0.07 लिखि परिबी ना नहीं?
Yes sir.
Plus beta coefficient is given, that is 1.5, multiplied with premium. Premium is 13%, that is 20% माने 0.2 minus 7% means 0.07. That को minus जदि करी मु कोन पाइबी 13% 0.13. So 0.13 into 1.5 plus 0.07. This came 0.265. 0.265 means what? 26.5%. My expected rate of return. My expected rate of return is 26%, 26.5%. If I am going to invest in equity share of X limited, then what will be my expected rate of return? That is 26.5%. So simply I am just putting the values or the information into this model. This model is known as SAPM model, capital asset pricing model. Is it clear? Did you understand?
Yes sir. Understood sir. Thank you sir. Yes sir.
Okay, very good. So let us proceed to the next. Next, let us discuss about the causes of risk. We are talking about risk, but what are the causes of risk? What are the reasons of risk? Okay, wrong method of investment. If you are selecting any wrong method for your investment, definitely risk will be there. Yes or no? So you have to select the proper method of investment so as to get more amount of return. So whenever you are getting more amount of return, we can say you can able to manage your risk. Again, wrong timing of investment. Timing is very, very important. Please remember, this is one of the most variable component in our day-to-day life. Yes or no? One worker is working for 8 hours, he is getting the wage of 500 rupees. Let's say you are the bank manager, you are working in your bank for 8 hours. You are getting per day you are getting, let's say, 5,000 rupees or 7,000 rupees. Why does this happen? Because of the time. So whenever we are investing also, we must consider the timing component. Timing is very, very important, because within a fraction of second, if you are taking the decision by just changing a fraction of second, definitely sometimes you may incur the loss. So timing of investment is crucial. Let's say right now the stock price is rising. So when stock price is falling, that means down, you have to buy, and when it is rise, when it will rise or when it is rising, you have to sell. But if you are not doing so, then definitely you will suffer the loss. You may not able to materialize your expected return. So that is timing of investment is also very, very important. Otherwise, risk will be definitely there. Again, quantity of investment, because we are talking about portfolio. So whenever you are selecting your securities or investment instruments in your portfolio, you have to be very careful for selecting the quantum, that means your quantity or proportion. ମୋ ପାଖରେ 100 ଟଙ୍କା ଅଛି, 100 ଟଙ୍କାରୁ କେତେ ଟଙ୍କା ମୁଁ ଇକ୍વિଟି शेयर କିଣିବି, କେତେ ଟଙ୍କା ମୁଁ ଡିବେଞ୍ଚର କିଣିବି, କେତେ ଟଙ୍କା ମୁଁ ବଣ୍ଡ କିଣିବି, କେତେ ଟଙ୍କା ମନି ମାର୍କେଟ ଇନଷ୍ଟ୍ରୁମେଣ୍ଟସ କିଣିବି, ସେଟାକୁ ମତେ କଣ କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ? I have to take the judicious decision regarding the quantity. Otherwise I may suffer the loss, and this loss arrives because of the risk. Okay. Next one is nature of investment instrument. So whenever you are selecting the investment instruments, you must be very careful about the nature of investment instruments. That means equity share. This is one nature of investment, one kind of investment instrument. Bond or debenture, another kind of investment instruments, or money market instruments. This is also another type of investment instruments. So equity share, the nature of equity share is different than the money market instruments nature. So nature of investment instruments should be also considered. Again, nature of industry. So whenever you are investing, under which industry you are going to invest. Simply I can say after 1990s, non-manufacturing sector, that means service sectors, are more demanding and booming sector than the manufacturing sector. Manufacturing sector, out the service sector dekhiba, service sector the growth is more than the manufacturing sector. So here service sector means service. In service sector, service industries is there. Under service sector, these companies are there. Like your banking sector is there, telecom sector is there, IT sector is there, hotel and hospitality sector is there. They are providing the service. So here you have to select where you are going to invest, whether you are going to invest in IT sector, banking sector, or telecom sector. That decision you need to take. Otherwise, you may suffer loss because of the risk. Again, credit worthiness of the issuer. Whenever you are going to buy any investment instruments, you must judge the credit worthiness. That means repaying ability of your issuer. Mo X Limited ru share kinibi. So X Limited ru jetebele share kinuchi equity share, mu X Limited ro credit worthiness mate judge kariyaku padiba. What is the debt paying ability of X Limited? That means that company. Okay, so here X Limited is the issuer, it is issuing the equity share. I am the investor, I am going to buy the equity share of X Limited. So I must analyze, I must judge the credit worthiness of my issuer. So without judging the credit worthiness, if you are investing, then at any point of time, there may be chances of loss. Okay, and this arises due to some sort of risk. So this is also another cause of risk. So these are the various causes of risk. Okay, did you understand? Yes or no? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
good. Okay. So these are the various causes of risk. Again, natural calamities are there. Natural calamities like very recently we have already witnessed COVID. So because of the COVID, it affects many industries, you know. So when it affects many industries and so many business also, they have closed down their business during that period. So because of that also risk is there. So these are the various causes of risk. So next one is about your measurement of risk. We can measure the risk by two ways. One is behavioral aspect, second one is quantitative or statistical aspect. So behavioral aspect is otherwise known as also qualitative aspect. Okay. So as we have already discussed that risk can be measured, but uncertainty cannot be measured. So how to measure the risk? Risk can be measured with two aspects, behavioral or qualitative aspect. And second one is statistical or quantitative aspect. So under behavioral aspect, there are two methods. Either you can go for range or sensitivity analysis. Second one is probability distribution analysis. But in case of quantitative or statistical aspect, we can measure the risk with the help of standard deviation. In the statistics, I hope you have already studied about standard deviation. Yes or no? As well as coefficient of variance. Okay. So these are the methods available in order to measure the risk of the individual security as well as portfolio. So the degree of risk can be measured in two ways, by considering qualitative or quantitative aspects, that is behavioral as well as statistical aspects. Okay, so this much for today. So if you have any doubt or any query, you can ask me right now. Any doubt?
No, sir. Thank you, sir.
No doubt so far, sir. Thank you.
Rosalind madam is asking, sir, can we know the debt paying ability of a company from its debt to equity ratio? Definitely. Definitely. Not only debt to equity ratio, other parameters are also there. That means you can compare with the current asset with the current liability, whether it is maintaining adequate amount of current asset in order to meet its short-term obligations of the business or not. So by this way also you can judge. Okay. So what you are saying, it is just one parameter, but there are other parameters also. Okay. Is it clear, Rosalind madam? Did you understand? Okay, yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much then. So thank you everyone for joining with me. Have a good day. Stay safe and stay blessed. Thank you so much.
Have a good day, sir. Thank you.